Hello and welcome to the Tripcap Call of Duty League podcast, where we keep you and ourselves guessing at all possible moments. In this week's episode, we look back at the Seattle Home Series. We look forward to the Minnesota Home Series. We talk to Barstool Hank about Warzone Weekends, and we talk to the Optic GM Muddawg and build a bracket for the upcoming Minnesota Home Series. All this and more on the Tripcap.
No, we won't back down, gonna fight till the end. Our honor comes first every time. Gonna stand up straight with our hand on our heart. Gonna right every wrong that we find.
So obviously there's been a very noticeable change here on the Tripcap. Obviously Momo's here as per usual, can't get rid of him. But Lottie, welcome to the show. Ben's been sick recently, so obviously you're filling in. Mate, welcome. How you doing?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. Thanks so much for having me on, and I hope Benson gets better, the poor soul.
Is that because you don't want to be here? What was that was loaded?
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
Guys, look who I'm with. No, of course not. You guys are the best. I'm so excited to be here to chat with you all about COD, all about life, mix it all up a little bit and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, we are really going to have a bit of fun here on the show, as we do try to do. But it was an amazing weekend of Call of Duty, and if you are unlucky enough to miss it, well, here's what you missed out on. Let's be real. Pristini made his return to the league, and Scump returned to form as the Chicago Huntsmen. They hit their winner's circle, and they find themselves sitting atop the league standings once again. Waskins, he continued to pop off, and London finally realised their potential by adding Zero to the roster, making their first ever finals appearance. Sadly, Minnesota dropped an absolute egg, falling short of expectations. But if you thought Minnesota was bad, Seattle was so much worse. Even the league's first in-game substitute couldn't save them, as they only won a single map all weekend. And in a nod to their summer starting, Paris camped their way to the W in the inaugural Warzone Weekend. The Warzone Weekend was such an interesting piece of content for us in the COD League. Obviously, we've been alluding to the fact that it was happening. We knew about it behind the scenes, but mate, the end result there for me was so fun to watch. It was such a cool product. Obviously, we talked to Barstool Hank a little bit later in the show about that one, but what did you guys think of Warzone Weekend? I thought it was banging. I really did.
I mean, first things first, we all love Warzone. Obviously, it's just a great addition to Modern Warfare, and I think we play it a lot. But it was just so interesting because we've seen these pros run around against, normal, everyday people in lobbies and just tear it up. But against each other, when money was on the line, it was just such a different style of play. These guys were playing to win. It wasn't to find 50 kills each. It was simply to be the last one standing, which I found interesting. So there's definitely some different strategies. The weapon or non-weapon usage I thought was hilarious. We saw riot shields, we saw all kinds of things, but it all came down to those recons, man. And it was funny because we all made our predictions and nobody had Paris.
No, I loved right at the end of it, watching all the different POVs of Paris and them waiting for the circle to be in their favour and screaming, like Den's, his face. I was absolutely giggling myself to death with it. I was just like, this is amazing. This is how you play. I need to take a leaf out of their book when I play Warzone because I need to be patient.
I cannot play like that.
I rush everything. No, neither can I. But apparently that's how you get a dub, man.
How you get a win.
So funny, isn't it? But that's how you get a win. This has brought so much discussion about like the right way to play Warzone or the right way to go for wins here. And like, there is no right way. It's like, if you're the last person standing, that's how you win it. And whatever you do to get there, whatever it takes, that's what you do. I mean, I think Den's had a really great tweet of like all the people coming at him saying he was a camper, and he said something along the lines of, I would gladly rush out against any of you people. But at the end of the day, when your opponents are some of the best players in the world, it obviously changes things quite a bit. But yeah, it was a crazy weekend, a weekend of firsts for the Call of Duty League. And again, apart from Warzone Weekend, we also, of course, had drops for the first time. That was very, very cool. But it was wicked to see. But aside from that, seeing the Huntsman back on top, and not just the Huntsman getting first place, but then London second place as well. Substitutes making a big difference, unless you're Seattle. But substitutes making a big difference. I thought that was really crazy. Between Pristini and Zero, you make a change, you seemingly rise to the top.
They're making a huge difference.
It happened as well with Mutineers, with Pharaoh. That this honeymoon period has been a thing for decades in esports and COD. Like it's a real thing for sure, and it's whoever can be consistent with that. That's kind of the real deal. But I mean, we even did it on the Tripcap. We brought in Lottie, as a substitute. We're hoping it gets a lot better. We'll have to wait and see for your guys' feedback. Let us know in the comments.
Oh my god, I'm a sub.
But yeah, I mean, even the teams that didn't win, Mac, joining subliners, that improved it as well. 0 with London. I mean, the only real substitution which didn't go too well was Seattle's, but I mean, I don't think anything could have helped them. I honestly don't, but subs certainly helping.
But it does make a difference, and it's funny to talk about that honeymoon period because I'm hoping that this honeymoon period for some of our top teams doesn't end. It's really difficult to see, I think, a top team go through a big change like that and then it not work out for them in the long run for the season. And I know we're very, very much through the season right now. And so that can't happen. They have to make these crucial decisions, bring on the right person, work on that cohesion as a team, that chemistry to get those results that you need at the end. Because let's be honest, yes, this is getting you seeding in for champs, but when you get to champs, that's where you've got to put the work in. That's where your team has to have bonded to the maximum level it could have done, you know, to get the optimum result.
You know what's a funny thing as well when you look back at like Florida Mutineers changed? You bring Pharaoh in, you win an event. What happens the following home series? You don't win a single map.
Right.
What's going on there? Are we going to see the same thing? Are we going to see the same thing happen with London or Chicago, dare I say? Like, where either of those teams, obviously we get to see Chicago at the Minnesota Home Series. We don't see London for a bit. What if they don't win a map?
I mean, that's the thing. The competition in 2020 in the CDL, everyone has an amazing team. The competition is so strong. It can happen. I don't see it happening to the likes of Huntsman. But let's not forget, a couple weekends ago, London played a home series and they didn't win. They didn't win a series. I think they won one map. Maybe they didn't win a map. I don't know. I could be wrong there, but they certainly lost two.
It was tough. It was so tough. They had phase in their group. It was so hard.
And that's what happens. That's what happens. But, you know, you can go down, you make a change, and suddenly you're in the final. Like, we've seen it with OGLA, we've seen it with London now. Moral of the story is, you know, it's never chalked, you know? It's always doable, Miles.
It's tough, though. It's tough with London. I mean, I asked Scraps this question as, you know, what happened before? Like, why is one player making this much of a change to your team? Surely it can't just be 0. He said, no, we were just having it, you know, we were just rubbish, he said. Like, that was kind of how he said it. We were just rubbish, like. So... And
that's a bad mentality, yeah.
It's a bad mentality. And it's really, really hard because you can just hear, like, guys, in that Astro listening, they were really, really crazy at one point. I think, in the final, they literally, I couldn't understand, first of all, a word they were saying because they were talking too fast. And in many, many instances, we heard them saying, like, just calm down, just calm down. It's. I think with London, they need to have the right mentality going forward to be able to turn a series around or even win it.
Yeah, the mentality is the thing right now, which is you're starting to like stress and test these players individually, not just these teams. And like that was another big thing we saw this weekend was so many tweets, particularly coming out of the Seattle camp of players who were just like, I'm over this, man. I'm so over this. Like there was a quote, Octane he tweeted at one point, legitimately don't want to play anymore. Like that is a huge tweet, man. He got 6,000 likes on that tweet alone. Like that's just people understanding the sentiment he's going through, man. The amount of pressure on these players and the amount of challenge they're going through on a series by series basis with the expectations they have, the expectations of their org, the expectations of the fans, like the pressure is insane. And just to see like Karma saying things like everything's supposed to be different, we're trying our best, we can't get there, everyone wants to win but we can't, this sucks.
We're just like, players that shouldn't have been together. That's what he said.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, it's crazy. As much as I hate it, I love it at the same time because we've got this in like crazy drama-filled league. The memes are better than they've ever been. Like the back and forth between the players and the orgs is better than it's ever been. Miles is here for the
memes, people. Miles is just here for the memes.
Mate, the memes this weekend were insane.
He's like, team's demise. Don't worry, the memes will be great.
Oh, the memes will be good. I've got a folder lined up with all these images of like super cows ready for when the Gorillas beat when the Gorillas beat Surge. Because the first one I saw was like Octane's tweet. It was just like a skinny cow that like again Seattle Surge were milking the Gorillas for points. It was the only team they could beat. And then when they lost to them, it was like of all the teams for Seattle to lose to, like they've lost to everyone now I suppose, but like for them to lose to the Gorillas 3-0 like they did, like that was the rustiest, most janky, horrible nail in that coffin, right? Disgusting. But the memes were insane. Like the again, like the one that came out of the Seattle Surge Twitter.
So good.
It was so good. Sorry, the Gorillas Twitter
response, amazing.
Oh man, the cow kicking
the Gorillas have been taking it. Let's be honest, they've been at the bottom of the barrel for so long. Like it's good for them to be able to give back, especially against Seattle. I mean, a few weeks ago, Slacked was tweeting, you know, how it's just like, oh, we're playing Gorillas again. This should be easy. Or I think he just straight up tweeted, "You're trash" to them. So to kind of get one over. But one thing I find kind of super interesting to compare is when you compare any normal sports team, whether it be football or American football, whatever it is, if you haven't, you've got a roster of 20 people, and you can take some off the pitch, put another on the pitch. Like, I think the only team that can really do that is Toronto, and I know they tried something with Enable and Panda and changing things up, but if someone's just not doing well, even mid-game, mid-tournament, whatever it is, there's usually like a handful of people that you can chuck on the battlefield or the pitch or whatever it would be to swap it, to try something. But it's very different. Esports, especially at this stage with COD, it's still a growing process. And I love what they tried with the mid-game substitution, and I think the memes were great, Miles, you're right. But I do want to see, again, this is the first season of the CDL, you know, what happens in 2-3 years? You know, are we getting more in-game substitutions, mid-series substitutions, you know, rosters of 10 minimum? It just excites me, the whole thing.
I think we're going to get more mid-game substitutions like that, or mid-series, 100%. I thought about that to begin with. I'm like, why are you not changing things up?
Bring Teddy Rex on.
It needs to be practiced. It needs to be practiced, I think, a bit more as well, though. Do you know, I think it needs to be tactical. It needs to be clinical when you do it. I think it's just so different from traditional sport in that respect, because a lot of times subs come on because of fatigue. Yes, can you get fatigue from gaming? Yeah, you can. You can get a little fatigue,
little
but
bit less,
probably
though.
not in the same physical way.
Mental
so really,
fatigue.
it has to be a tactical play to do this. It has to be like, this is going to be better for this respawn, this is going to be better for S&D. So I think it would be really cool to see that happening from teams. I just think they need to get it right.
Yeah, you're right. Practice is going to make perfect there. But having a search and destroy roster in the same way that you have an offensive and a defensive line in Gridiron or in the NFL, like, that makes perfect sense to me. It makes perfect sense. We thought about this way back when we saw the Gorillas failing. We were like, some of the players on the Gorillas bench are insane search and destroy players. Bring them on. Let's make a change. Like, you could honestly run Toronto, could have a search team and the respawn team that are entirely different players. Like, that's actually possible. To think that that's even,
that's crazy, isn't it?
That's crazy to do. Like, that could be amazing to see. Like, you got Toronto Ultra S&D and Toronto Ultra Hardpoint Dom, whatever. It could be cool. But yeah, this weekend, let's a couple more points I want to get through. The return of Scump. Scump was frying. The king has returned. We saw that super passionate outro he had as they won their match. We saw the 10 box or the faces in there. Scumpy was going crazy. That was really cool to see. But on a bit of a downer before we finish here, but Røkkr flopper, right? Like,
I said on Contesting the Point that if they don't win this home series, they're not going to win a home series the rest of the season, and I stand by that. I think this was the one chance where Chicago was really the big top dog to beat, and they had a recent change, and they just didn't even show up to even challenge Chicago. It was such a shame. I love the Røkkr guys, but I think that they were very good at the start of the game. They learned it much like Paris did, but I just feel like a lot of teams have caught up, overtaken, and leaving them in the dirt. And I don't see them being in the final of the next one either. It's a tough one, but it's their home series coming up next as well, Miles. So,
I think if they were going to win a home series, I honestly think it would have been back in the Florida Mutineer home series. Like, that is where I would have seen them win one. I think going up against, so many teams, I think, that just weren't quite there, and as whole of a team that we've seen so far, I feel like that could have been a little bit different for them. Because I don't know, it's really tough to like think about, but yeah, I feel like Minnesota Røkkr could have had that going up against New York Subliners. Got 3-0'd. That was their chance right there. It just didn't happen for them.
Because they're running out of chances. The next 3 home series they've got, their groups are stacked. In the Minnesota home series, they've got Surge, which potentially is a win. Then they've got FaZe and Empire. That's 2 potential losses right there. New York series coming up. They've got London, Chicago, New York. Easily, Chicago is looking like a big win, but London, New York, we've seen New York already 3-0 them, and London is stronger than they've ever been, so that's not a great look. And then a Toronto home series, they've got Atlanta, Dallas, and Florida.
I don't see them getting out of one of those groups.
Stacked! They're stacked groups. Minnesota have got they've got their work cut out for them. So if they're on the downward stick now, it's done. Like, it's not going to be a good look. I'm just lucky that I'm just glad that team got all their points at the beginning of the season because they get nothing now.
No.
I agree.
They're the team that just couldn't get over the finish line. Just never could quite get to the end, and that sucks because it's actually probably more painful that way, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll look back and they'll be the best team. Yeah, the Silver Surfers, the best team this year that never did. That's it. It's going to sting for them so much. Oh God, what a good event it was, and I'm looking forward to go again. It's so interesting. God, crazy Minnesota New York series and the Toronto home series coming up as well. Right, now it's time to throw to our interview with Handsome Hank, aka Henry Lockwood, producer of Pardon My Take, just before this Warzone weekend took place. After that, we'll talk to Optic Gaming's GM Muddawg, and we're going to build our perfect bracket for the Minnesota home series going forward. And now we are joined by the Hunkerson himself, Henry Lockwood, aka Handsome Hank from Barstool Esports, from one of the biggest podcasts, I think, on the face of the planet right now, which is very exciting, dude. Welcome to the show. This is obviously a bit of a departure for you, but how are you feeling?
I'm feeling very excited. This is my first. I like how you call this Barstool Esports too. That's great. I like that.
Did I throw esports in there, mate? I haven't said the word sports without putting an E in front of it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited.
Well, it's a weird one because I mean you're the producer on the show, so you don't get as much. I mean you feature in every single episode, but you're not as front and center. Obviously as the other guys in the show. Like what's that like? I mean, do you do a lot of stuff like this or not?
No, I definitely am not used to being, in front of the camera, being the host. I'm definitely come from a video editing background, so I got involved with the podcast to help with that side of things. But they've given me, I have a mic in front of me. I participate in the segment, so I am used to it. I've been doing it for 7 years, but I definitely don't think of myself as a outward facing, podcast host type person.
I want to pivot here and go straight into Call of Duty because that's what we know. We want to really welcome you into our world, mate.
And that's what I don't know.
Yeah, this is I've seen you play. You definitely have an idea of what's going on. But was Warzone your first intro to Call of Duty? I feel like everyone on the planet knows what COD is, in some way, shape, or form, and especially in the US. It's one of the biggest games in North America. How did you get into Call of Duty? How did you get to Warzone?
I mean, I've always been aware of Call of Duty forever. Unfortunately, my mom was one of those moms who was no violent video games in the house. So it's I would play sports games growing up, but I only would be able to play Call of Duty at my friend's house or whatever. So I didn't get the hours in to be good. So whenever I would play, for a couple games, suck, and then that would be it. So this is really my first time where I've sat down and just put in hours on hours, day after day after day. So I knew about it. I played it. I kind of understood the game, but I never really had I never really put in the time before, this quarantine.
Yeah.
So quick question from someone with that experience. How have you kind of pivoted to find a spot on the Optic Warzone roster with what I believe is Slasher, Quavo, and Chino? That seems like one extreme to the other. You're playing with some of the greatest players in the world.
So to be honest with you, the reason I got put on this team was I was pretty much bait and switched. I was pitched to be on this team as if it's going to be, 3 pros and 1 influencer. So I'm like, whatever. It doesn't matter that I'm not good. Every team is going to have someone that's bad. And then when I had a follow-up call with someone about this tournament, they told me it's all pros and I'm the only one that's not a pro. So I'm absolutely terrified. My team is going to hate me. I think some teams you play with them and then you win a game and you form a bond for life. I think this team is going to hate me for the rest of the time because of how bad I'm going to do. So I'm very stressed about it.
Dude, you've definitely got a good team though. Quavo and Chino are very easygoing, very, very good players. Slasher's going to be the guy cracking the whip, man. He's going to be the guy giving you slack if it doesn't go well. But I think he'll be I was told
you guys aren't going to understand this reference because you don't know American sports, but I was told he is the Kobe Bryant of COD, and I was like,
nice.
I guess that will make me the Nick Young, the guy that's just around goofing off and yelled at the whole time.
Dude, I think he'll carry you good though, man. He'll give you good advice, and but I think his patience might run thin after a while. But we'll see how you go. But yeah, dude, you've got a great team. So do you have any idea? You must have seen these professionals play. You know what it's like when you in same with sports. Everyone's throwing a ball, but when you're on, when you're a quarterback, when you're Tom Brady throwing a ball, it's a whole different experience. Have you seen COD guys these guys play from their perspective?
Yeah, so I've been watching, like I said, it's all been kind of new to me this last month, but I have been watching streams, I've been watching the pros, and it truly is, it's disheartening turning these guys on, seeing how fast they play, how good they are, and then realizing I am never ever going to get to that level. But yeah, they just play, it's like basketball where it's you can watch high school basketball and then you watch the NBA, they're playing 1,000 times faster, 1,000 times more high quality. They can do things no one else can do. So I have like, it's one of those things where, you don't really understand what makes a professional maybe from most like regular sports and non-esports fans, but I have come to learn like these guys truly are on another level that I'm nowhere near.
I think it's like, these guys have been doing it for 10, 12, 15 years, some of them, which you're going to kind of, eventually get to that kind of stage, but you've got to have that time to put it in. For you, what is it like entering the world as what we know of Twitch and being a streamer and, interacting with people online rather than, you do that as well with podcasts too, but what's that been like for you, kind of entering the Twitch world?
I've honestly loved it. It's something that like I was playing Call of Duty with my friends when quarantine started off hours during not work. And I kind of realized, I was like, wait, if we start this Twitch channel and grow our community, I can write this off as work and just play during all day, all night. And it's work.
Spike it.
But with that said, like I've really like, obviously we have, Barstool and Part of My Take has a huge fan community and we're always interacting. But I found with Twitch, it's really the most like compressed and best way to interact with your fans where they're really right there. Like they're talking to you, they're coming back night after night. You really get that sense of community, which I think it's like better than Twitter, better than Instagram. It really feels like community, which is something I like.
You find it weird, like the idea that you've invited at this point in time. The PMT Twitch hit what? Number one stream after a while. You were at 30, 40,000 viewers currently. Like that's crazy. Isn't it weird to think that you've let that many eyeballs like into your home live, no filter, no, like anything can go, man. Like you can,
no re-recording. That's the thing with Twitch. It's live. It's great.
Yeah, how's that been?
I think that's where with my career with Barstool has helped because that's kind of how I've operated, how I've thought about things for the past like 5 years. Like I'm used to kind of everyone knowing about like all the messy details and all the embarrassing things. Like I don't get embarrassed publicly anymore because I've been embarrassed publicly so many times. Like it doesn't really faze me. So I think that's where I have an advantage where it's like it's fine. Like I'll just turn the camera on and go. Like people can say whatever they want. That's
a good way of looking at it, man. So let's talk more about like how you got into the podcast game because obviously you've been with Barstool for a long time now. You've blown up, like completely blown up, like to stratospheric levels. Like how did you get into it to begin with?
Big Cat Dan Katz, aka Coach Doug's. He is the one that was the number one streamer. He puts up big numbers. He does the NCAA football. But he and I have been working at Barstool. Both, I think he probably started working 4 or 5 months before me, but we both started similar times. Him obviously is like a frontward content person and me as a behind the scenes video editor. And so we collaborated on a lot of projects early on. And when he started, it was his idea to start Part of My Take with PFT. And he just asked me if like I would help behind the scenes and do the editing and producing and stuff. So that's kind of how I got into it. I was not an audio person. It's kind of ironic because audio is something I struggle with still to this day. If you've seen my Twitch streams, you see when things malfunction, I don't really know what's going on.
Hank, have we lost you?
Hank!
Am I back?
Yes, you are.
All right, sorry about that. My mic got unplugged. So it is a little ironic that I'm a podcast producer and a very popular podcast producer, but I got into it through video editing and it ended up where it did.
Right. Here's a weird question. Does Big Cat or PFT play COD?
Big Cat plays COD. He played a lot last year, but he just had a baby in June. So when he has time to play video games, he does Coach Doug's. I think once we're back in the office, we're going to build, a nice streaming setup in our studio and he'll get back on the sticks. But he likes COD. Like he played a lot, not whatever the Call of Duty was before Warzone, he played a lot. And then I'm sure he would want to play, but he just can't really with his home life situation as it is currently.
Right. Yeah. We've had a couple of professional COD players who have recently had, a child, and that's kind of the first era, if you like, of these people growing up, having children, and kind of having to adapt. But I wanted to talk a little bit like when you knew things had blown up. You guys are, like Miles said, you blown up. When was it that you realized that you broke big or you got your big kind of break through the mainstream?
It's kind of, for me personally, like for Part of My Take, it was just they were so big. Big Cat and PFT were already such big established like Twitter personalities. And when they promoted the podcast, like we basically, when new podcasts start, they have a higher likelihood to stay at the top of the charts. Like they'll go to the top of the charts for, let's say, a week or 2 weeks or whatever. But then they'll kind of fall back down to wherever their actual place on the charts is.
Yeah.
And I think after like 2 months, we were still at number 1, and we saw other podcasts come and go that had started, and we were like, oh, I think we're just staying. Like I don't think we're getting off at number 1.
Yeah, we're here for good, and I mean that's the plan, right? You know, you want to peak but stay up there at the top as well. But no, that's good. I mean, one question I wanted to ask, which is myself and Miles, we're very much kind of in front of the camera. We're not on the producing side of things. For you as a producer, how do you know, like, you know, you've interviewed some of the biggest names in sports. How do you know when you're getting like a great interview, like in the moment, whether it be, you know, one of the biggest stars in the world or not, kind of thing? What's kind of the big check mark for you when that's going down?
I just read the guests, and I have pretty good like understanding of their body language. But a lot of the times, it's like my favorite are when they're doing PR interviews, and in that day they're doing, let's say, like 10 interviews on, you know, going around to the different media companies and doing the same interview, promoting the same movie, and they'll come on with us, and Big Cat or PFT will ask a question that will get them so off guard and like, but make them laugh, and they kind of give them this like, what did you just say to me? But they laugh. They think it's funny. And then after that, they kind of open up, and after the interview ends, a lot of the times people will be like, oh, that was great. Like, that's the best interview I've done all day. Or like, that was like something I've never done before. But usually it's like PFT or Big Cat will say something so ridiculous or outlandish that the guest like just gets thrown off guard and laughs. And like,
right.
that's kind of when I know like the interview is going to take a turn for the better.
Yeah, they're not saying the same thing 7 times to 7 different people. It's like, we've got a different one here.
Once you break the script, like they've got these prepared responses, man. Like everyone's got media training these days. Like same with COD players as well. Like we do the same thing when we try and catch our guys off. Like the amount of times we've had players on this show and they've come to us afterwards and said, "Thanks, man. You didn't just ask the same 5 questions again." We're like, "We got you, man. We know everyone's done this before. Like it's a cool thing."
Right. You try and give them something they're not, you know, something that's going to make them enjoy themselves.
Yeah. What's the favorite interview you've ever done, and with who?
I don't know. I mean, there's been so many. It really is hard to pick down one. Like there's a lot of them for different reasons. I'm trying to think if I had to pick one though. I really don't think I could. Like I would have to think. I'd have to look, because we've probably done 500 interviews in the past 4 years. I would have to look at all 500, and it would be hard for me to whittle it down to one.
So if that's a good interview, like our producer he's a big fan. He's a big sports fan. He had the question of what happens when you have a bad interview, like Dan Marino or AJ Green, like when it's not going great. What do you do to recover?
As a producer, as the person, and this is kind of, I guess, messed up in a way. We've done so many good interviews, and we're so used to interviews going well, and I don't have to be the person that's asking the questions. So when interviews are bombing, like I am laughing almost as hard as I am when an interview's going well. Like, because, and our fans know, like our fans, it's the same way. Like they're used to quality interviews. Like if a guest is like kind of an asshole or like they're not giving good answers, like they're just making themselves look bad. So it's like we know that our fans aren't going to get mad at us for the guest being like a dickhead. So we're just like, you know, they played themselves. But like Dan Marino, like I remember laughing during that interview because it was so bad and he was being so mean that I was like, this guy has no idea that people are just going to hate him because he was so mean on this interview.
Right, yeah. It's awkward, but I like the fact that your fan base you've done so many now that they know it's not on you. And I think it's like, oh, this guy's just awful. This guy, like you said, is just being a bit out there. But sometimes I find it funny that the personalities don't realize what they're bringing on themselves. They just start chatting away, speaking away, saying what they like. It's hilarious.
Right. And when it's like a publicist sets it up, they're like, oh, this is just, you know, another interview for whatever. Like, I don't.
Yeah. It's another run-of-the-mill interview. Dude, we're going to jump around this a little bit, but but you guys are grinders, obviously. You're hardworking folks. Now you're involved on streaming. Now, like, because of this whole quarantine situation, the world is trapped behind doors. Like, everything has changed. I wonder if you're seeing now that you're in this, like, the gaming space. Like, are you seeing a lot of crossover between the gaming space or the esports space and the sports space? Like, what's going on there?
I think it's extremely similar. And I honestly, like, am kind of upset at how naive I was before, you know, this quarantine. But I think the reason I didn't understand, like I would see kids like producers and editors and stuff. I would see like we have a whole wing, and I would see like some of the editors would be watching like Fortnite streams or random streams. And in my head, I'm like, why? Like if you're not playing a video game, like why are you watching a video game? Like that was always a thing that I didn't understand. But now it truly, when you understand that these pros are out there, it's the same as watching NBA. It's the same as watching MLB. Like everyone played those sports growing up, but they keep watching because they like watching the best do what they do.
Yeah.
You have to pay so much money to go to these sports games. You have to pay so much to even like get the chance to interact with some of your favorite players. Whereas on Twitch, like the community, like I said, it's right there. You can really like just be face to face, borderline, like talking to your favorite, pro. And I think with gaming, like there's a much closer connection between pros and their fans, which is something I like.
It's a wild thing, man. I was explaining this very concept to my parents, like, it was about 3 or 4 years ago, and they were like, why would you want to watch them play? And I'm like, it's not just about being able to watch them play, it's about that immediate connection. So the idea that, like, I'm in the car with Lewis Hamilton when he's racing the F1, and I can ask him questions. Like, no one gets to have that level of connection. Like, you get to be on the court and able to talk to, like anyone while they're practicing, that kind of thing. Like, it's so there's nothing between the two of you, and it's just up to like how you engage with each other, that you get whatever answers you want. You can talk about practice regimes, you can ask some questions about their settings, like their gear and things like that. Like, it is an unprecedented level of connectivity with these unattainable personalities. Like, it's a wild platform, man. But you guys have been grinding it out. Are you getting a lot of F's in chat? Are you getting those?
Yeah, but that's kind of warranted. That's where it's like, I think I understand my personal playing level. And so I'm not, it really hurts. It hurts. Like it just hurts when I F myself. Like, I know it's coming. I do something. And that's really like the moment me and Big Cat have talked about this, like that there's a lot more stress. You think that you're just hopping on and playing video games, but I've realized that when I play off stream and I'm just playing with my friends, I'm way more relaxed. I have better games. There is a level of like stress that comes on with the fact that people are watching you, and the immediate realization where you mess up, and in a situation where you might be by yourself and you would just like turn off your game and walk away or just quit, and you realize that you have to look at the chat and they're just all roasting you. Yeah. That's the worst moment for me. It's like, right? I know what I'm going to look up and see, and you just look up and it's just like the chat is not stopping with just F's and F's and F's.
Yeah, it's like a waterfall of just you get crapped on constantly. It's tough when it's going bad. So let's get into the gulag. It's the final part of the interview. So basically, what we do in this, we call it the CDL gulag. We do 3 rounds. We give you 3 names, and we're not talking about the gulag in Warzone where it's a one-on-one. We're talking about a hard-hitting Russian prison camp where it's a labor camp. Very few people get out. We're talking political prisoners. It's a horrible place to be. We're going to give you 3 names, and you will give us one person who makes it out and the reason why. Are we ready to rock and roll, brother?
Yes.
All right, let's do this. So round 1. Tom Brady, David Ortiz, or Paul Pierce? Who's getting out of a Russian prison camp?
I feel like I'd have to give that to Ortiz just based off size. I think, that's my answer. I love them all to death, but I'm not gonna factor in my heart and emotions into it. I'm just gonna go off of size. And I think David Ortiz would be the one to walk out.
All right, here we go. Round 2. Oh, actually, yeah, round 2. Here we go. Blake Griffin, Blake Bortles, or Brooks Koepka.
I mean, this would be a true. Wait, so are you saying that they're not fighting to the death for each other? They're just
they're in the yard. They're doing the hard. They're doing a sentence right in a prison that you cannot escape from. But one of them is going to escape. And we need a reason why yet.
I mean, Blake Bortles is top 2 people, top 2 of my favorite people in the world. He has done so many things for me in my life. However, and Blake Koepka is a U.S. Open champion, one of the best world-class golfers. So there's a lot. They all have a lot to bring to the table. But the one thing that I think would get Blake Griffin out of the Russian gulag is the fact that he is the current Blake of the Year. So I would have to give him the slight edge in that category.
That's a solid take, man. Again, we've got some definite fans of the show here in production. I like that.
And for those of those, I'm sure that there's a lot of Call of Duty people watching this. Like, what is this guy talking about? On part of my take, we have a Blake of the Year competition where it's just we pick 3 Blakes, and in order to win, we all call them. We pick a date and we say we're going to call you at some point during the day, and then whoever picks up the phone fastest wins. So Blake Bortles won 2 years ago. Blake Griffin won last year. He picked it up in 2.8 seconds. So
wow,
yeah,
he had nothing on that day.
Yeah,
he told us that he was working out and he paid one of the kids that was like at the facility to hold his phone. He was like, hold my phone, and if they answer, pick it up immediately.
That's incredible.
So he was. That's what I'm saying. It's that type of preparation. It's that type of thinking ahead that's going to get him what he needs to do to get out of the Russian gulag.
That is 100% what we're looking for in an answer, man. Well done. That's probably the best answer we've received. A lot of the times it's like, yeah, they're going to be strong, they're going to be this, they're going to that, but like that is preparation at the finest. He's got the yard under control. There is somebody carrying around the shiv, someone's digging the holes for him, you name it, mate. Okay, final round. Big Cat, PFT, or Billy Football?
I mean, Billy Football would die in 2 seconds. Actually, you know what? If it's a Russian gulag, now that I'm thinking about it, I actually think that Billy Football has the physical size, and he has enough random information probably about Russians and things of that nature that he would somehow find his way to get out of it. Because Billy Football is the type of guy where it's like, you think he doesn't know what's going on, but somehow, some way, he gets out. And that's, I think, what, the spirit of Russian gulag is like, once you're in, you're never getting out.
Yep.
Somehow this guy gets out. Somehow, some way, Billy Football would be the guy to get out of there.
That's magic.
I love it.
Magic. Oh, mate, thank you very, very much for the chats. Now, for everyone who is obviously new to the show, new to maybe why you're even here, you're going to be on that Warzone show. You're going to be with Optic Gaming. It's going to be a lot of fun. You've got a cool squad. Do you know anything about Optic as a roster as a team in the Call of Duty world? Like, have you got any idea about that?
I know about the Oak Boys. I know JCap.
Yeah. The team, like the Optic Gaming team you're joining, dude, they're like the equivalent of the Pats. Like they have won everything for a very long time. The organization's got a very long and very, very successful history. But as of the Call of Duty League, most of the players who made that roster, like the dynasty running players, went elsewhere. And now you've got this like brand new roster. And this guy, Slasher, the Kobe of COD, he came in, he was like, this is my team now. And there was this huge turnaround for the whole community where they were like, there was a lot of like back and forth between the old fans. They called themselves the Green Wall. Like Optic has this insane, passionate fan base. They called themselves the Green Wall. They bit back really hard at the new Optic roster because they're like, that's not the same team, blah, blah, blah. And like now they're trying to form their own run of things. But it's like this huge storied team in COD history, man. And like you've dived in at the deepest end possible, and I love it. And
all right, well, let me ask you guys a couple questions for advice. Then, what can I do in this tournament to not make the Green Wave and all the Optic people hate me for being the reason that our team? Like, what can I do to just not like? What am I going to say to my teammates? Like, what should I do? I don't really know how to approach this.
So here's what we do in Call of Duty: you just keep shouting, "Let's go, baby!" You just keep shouting, "Let's go, baby!" at every opportunity you've got, dude.
Hype up your team. I think some COD fans and a lot of COD fans will be very understanding of who you are, who you're playing against, and who you're playing with. So they will have low expectations, but also you can win them over. So like whether that is hype for your team, whether that's reviving one of those pro players, they'll go down. If you can revive one of them, you're the hero. I think one few right moves and you could be a hero. Yeah,
100%. The COD fans, like we're very fickle. We you could win us over in a heartbeat. So at the London Home Series we did a while back in this year when we used to be able to go out and see people, we did like a celebrity match with Nicky Romero, who's I think he's a Dutch DJ. When he walked out, the crowd was literally chanting, "Who are ya? Who are ya?" He got one kill on another pro player on the other team, and immediately the crowds turned that around. They're all singing like Nicky Romero, Nick, like within one kill, and we were screaming because then like he's one of our boys. So dude, all you have to do, big revive, listen to your teammates, do whatever you can to help them out. And honestly, Hank, like it couldn't go that bad because it's Warzone. You die, you're out. You get the gulag, you come back, whatever. Oh, actually. I didn't realize how bad that gulag's going to be.
You're going to go in 1v1 versus pro, but again,
that's honestly where I think I have the most chance of dumb luck.
Yeah. Pressure is off you. You've got to embrace it, and honestly, I think it's an easy one for you. Drop a few plates for your teammates. They'll appreciate it. But I think Miles hit it on the head. Just shout "Let's go!" Get them hyped up, and they'll be laughing. They'll be.
You're coming out a hero.
Are Call of Duty events similar to like you? I mean, you guys know this, like darts. I've been watching a lot of darts events, and they seem like the most electric sporting events in the land in the history of like civilization.
Yeah,
so
it's amazing.
The thought of British people chanting, screaming my name is like a dream of mine. So if I can do that through Call of Duty, that would be amazing.
Hank, that is definitely the way to do it. Once we open the doors and all this COVID life. Like, we'll get you to come to an event, and it's honestly, the fans are great. Particularly the fans in Europe. The London fans are insane. There's nothing that compares it. I think darts is the closest comparison because it's this like smaller room. It's not like a stadium. It's way more intimate. Everyone's drinking, everyone's having a good time, and you're all just loving this game. Just loving it, mate.
Love it. Can't wait.
Hank, let's get you to an event. That'd be fantastic. Mate, thank you so much for coming on the show again, and well done with the Gulag. We wish you the best of luck in the upcoming Warzone event.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, friends, now it's time we fill our own brackets out. Of course, the upcoming Minnesota Home Series. We've gone to the official Call of Duty League bracket builder. You can do this as well. Go to bracket.callofdutyleague.com/Minnesota and do it along with us. But we have a very, very special guest joining us, the effervescent, the vertically enhanced Muddawg, the GM of Optic Gaming Los Angeles. Brother, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for such a beautiful welcome. You're always so, giving me so many compliments. I just can't.
I love you, Eric. I'm a big fan. All right, mate. I'm a fan. All right, let's get into the bracket, though, boys and girls. Of course, Minnesota's coming up next home series on the list here in the Call of Duty League. We're back to the start. We began in Minnesota, and we're here next. Obviously, Group A: Surge, FaZe, Røkkr, Empire. Let's start with Surge and FaZe. It's a 3-0, surely.
Yeah, I don't think there's any debate here. FaZe
is it a 3-0?
I think it's definitely a 3-0.
Yeah. I think it's going to be very hard to argue that one.
Yeah, I totally agree that. I mean, Seattle really not performing well, and for a number of reasons too. So I think that one's very, very easy. I don't gamble, but I probably would on that.
Up next, we've got Minnesota Røkkr going up against Dallas Empire. Thoughts and feels, mates? Muddawg, what do you think?
I think this is a 3-1 to Empire. Minnesota's a really well-coached team. They're really organized and have like a great structure to their team, but I just think there's too much talent over on the Empire side that's going to be tough for them to keep up with the whole match. I think it'll be 3-1 Empire.
You don't think? I'm with you on the 3-1. I think Empire, there might be a little nerves in there, maybe more than one map loss after they've just taken, 2 months off? This will be the first time they've returned to competing in 2 months.
Yeah, I feel like with so many of these series, especially in this format that we have now, like winning that first hard point is so much more important than it used to be.
Yeah.
It just gives you so much momentum and confidence online, which I think with every player, you're more like your confidence can change host to host in a sense. So getting that first dub really gives a lot of momentum for teams.
For me, Minnesota, they've gone from a top 4 placement to 2, second placements to back-to-back 5th, 6th. And I think, I don't know, my stock in Røkkr has certainly kind of gone down. I think this could be a 3-1. It wouldn't surprise me to see Dallas kind of come out and 3-0 them as well. We've seen Dallas and how strong they can be, but I'll go with 3-1, I think, on this one. And I think we're all in agreement that Dallas make it through, though.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement there. Okay, so in that case, I think Dallas, they're going to take the hard point. They're going to take the search. The Dom could maybe go the way of Røkkr, maybe. But then the next hard point, it's got to be Dallas 3-1, give or take.
I like it.
Sounds good to me.
I'm with it. All right, so then we get to our first knockout round of the tournament. We're just going to go down the list. Surge going up against Røkkr. Is this another 3-0?
Yes, it definitely is another 3-0. I love the guys in Seattle, but until we see different results from that team, I feel like it's hard to predict, anything else beside them losing.
I think they're going to get stomped by Atlanta and then probably the same by Minnesota. I'd go 3-0 and then I think after that something's got to give. I don't know what it is or who it will be, but something's got to change. I'm going 3-0 Røkkr on this one.
All right, so that's it. Surge first team to bow out the tournament. Now we get down to Group B. This is where things get a little more open. This is going to be a bit more complicated to get done. So Gorillas going up against Ultra.
I think the Gorillas are definitely improving overall, and we'll see what happens if there's a roster change. I've heard some rumors there, but Toronto has some really good players. Like Dance is really, really talented at this game. Cammy's an incredible player. We saw that in last home series, some of the plays he made. Classic can really hit form and get really hot. So I think Toronto has potential to pop off and definitely beat Gorillas for sure.
Oh baby, here we go. Huntsman Mutineers. Pristini with the match against his old squad. This I'm interested to see because this will be the debut performance of Florida's new star, right?
Yeah, Awakening.
Yeah, so this is I'm going to say it, but it's the awakening. How's it going to go? Is he going to snooze, is he going to snooze through that alarm, or is he going to be up at the crack? That's the question, though, man. If Mutineers look good, and the cool thing is they've had plenty of time to practice here, so this could actually be a really good series. If Awakening is like the top
the real deal,
thinks he is, this could be cool.
I honestly don't know much about Awakening as a player. I'm excited. It's always fun to see a new player come into CDL and see how they do. But I just think Huntsmen have looked too strong lately. They obviously just won the previous event. They look great with Pristini. I think he adds like a really great pace to their team. He's a very fast and aggressive player overall. And also, like, just to touch on the Huntsman thing too, people underestimate like how much a new player's attitude or like communication or just general mindset can change and impact the whole team. So I think they're in a really good spot. I think Chicago pulls this out, 3-0, 3-1 pretty convincingly.
Phil, give us your thoughts on Gorillas Mutineers. Is that a 3-0 Mutineers?
Gorillas Mutineers, not a 3-0. I actually think that could go game 5. I think Mutineers will win, but I think they win in the 5th. I see Gorillas getting better, but how much better, I'm not sure. To keep it short and sweet, I'm going to go Florida 3-2.
All right, well, let's roll back up to the other group. We've got FaZe now going up against Empire. This should be a banger. Big picture here for me. I actually think that Empire will take this. I think they look squeaky clean. I don't think either team will make a change at that point in time. There will be no changes in the foreseeable future for either squad. I think, if anything, Dallas are a more well-rounded team. Obviously, the FaZe S&D is pretty sick. The Empire's S&D is also amazing. So this is going to be truly I don't know even how to call this one, but I'm actually going to give this 3-2 to Empire. What do we think there?
Yeah, on my bracket, I have the opposite. Again, I think it's going to be a super close match. They're both great teams. I personally believe that Atlanta FaZe is still the best team in the league. And, I think this tournament is really going to help give us some answers if that thought is correct or not. But until I really see someone steamroll over them or just, convincing beat them a few times, I think they are the most well-structured. I think they're arguably the most talented, and I think they have the best team composition for this game.
Yeah. Is there any question in anyone's mind that this is going to be anything less than a 5-game series? This should go all the way, right?
I don't necessarily think it'll be a 5-game series. I just think each game will be pretty solid and pretty close. I think, like, these guys last met up in the final. Dallas took it 3-1 there. I do agree with Eric, though, and it's weird because Dallas have won 2 home series, Atlanta's won 2, and Dallas has kind of the one-up head-to-head against them. So you kind of got to say Dallas is the best team in the game. But I still, if I'm, pushed to the limit and said, who do I think is win? I don't know why, but I just think Atlanta are. I think they came out a little flat, and I don't think they'll do that again. I think Atlanta take this one 3-1.
So yeah. I do think it's going to go game 5, and I would say it's going to be FaZe that takes it.
All right.
My gut.
That's the consensus has been reached. 3-2 FaZe over Dallas. Going in the knockout round, again, we've got a rematch. We've got Empire going up against Røkkr. Same result, maybe similar, maybe even more dominant from Empire coming off a loss.
I think I'm going to play devil's advocate there and say that Empire's still going to win, but I think it's going to be 3-2. One thing that a lot of people don't realize is it is really difficult to beat the same team twice in a tournament. For a variety of reasons, but if you look at a lot of matches, teams that lose first and losers, I mean, we've done it a few times now, end up winning in the knockout match there. Yeah. And that's not just a thing this year. That just happens in tournaments and format in previous years too. I think Empire is clearly the better team, but I think Røkkr in the second match will give them a better run for their money.
3-2. That's an exciting call. So now we have our first 2 semi-finalists in FaZe and Empire. No massive surprises there in that group. Okay, so now we go to Ultra versus Huntsman again to decide who plays FaZe. This seems pretty open and shut.
3-0 Huntsman.
3-0. Yeah. I think this will be respect Ultra, but I think the maps could be close, but I'm going 3-0.
Last knockout match is going to be Ultra Mutineers. Again, I think Mutineers are going to be looking a lot stronger at this point in time. I think the change is going to be really beneficial for them. The last time we saw them make a change, brought Pharaoh in. They go straight on to win. So obviously losing Huntsman was bad, but I think they still get out of groups, and I think they still be Ultra 3-1.
Yeah, I have 3-1 in my bracket as well. Toronto definitely has the potential to win that series, especially if Cammy and Bance just go like Super Saiyan mode, but Florida overall has looked more consistent. They obviously have the tournament win. And I'm excited to see what Awakening can bring to the table for them.
Into the semi-finals we go. FaZe Mutineers up first. Don't see this. I see this being a 3-0. I see FaZe just going, no, boom, and they're smacking them. I really don't. I see this being like, we're in the business end of the tournament. FaZe have had their tough matches so far, or tough Seattle and Empire. I think they just go, no, thank you, Mutineers, good night. And I think it's 3-0.
I think it's just a bit too much for them.
I'm right there with you. I think FaZe wins this whole tournament, so I think they're going to steamroll Florida.
Spoiler alert.
Whoa.
Anyway, I don't even know who they're playing in the hypothetical finals, but they're winning whoever they're playing.
If we now go to the other side of the bracket, Huntsman Empire. If you thought Empire FaZe was a banger, I think this oh boy, this is a banger.
Yeah.
What do we think here?
I kind of don't know I don't even know what to start with in the scoreline, but I don't know. I'm feeling Dallas.
Yep.
I'm feeling Dallas take it. I have no idea what scoreline. I'll go 3-2 for the sake
why
of it.
do you feel like they take it?
Because I think Chicago have won. They've had that victory, but they didn't have Dallas or FaZe. I still class Dallas or FaZe, and I think I'd be jumping on like the Chicago bandwagon almost if I'm going that way. They've not proven to be enough that they're as good as Dallas or FaZe yet, and I think it would be I don't know. I don't think I can say anything to justify Chicago beating Dallas.
I think they have proven that they're as good as, Dallas and FaZe as well. Like, I think the clear-cut top three are Atlanta, Dallas, and Chicago right now.
Yeah.
But I do have Dallas taking this series 3-2. It really could go either way. I'm simply saying that because sort of what you said, Chicago won the last one. It's really hard to win multiple in a row. But it's going to be a great series.
Great series. Again, if it's going all the way, though, I'm still leaning towards Dallas just because Search and Destroy. And that's the deciding factor for me there. It's the game time. I think Dallas, I think Empire's Search and Destroy is what gets them through it. And that takes us to the rematch. FaZe Empire in this grand finals. Let's try and make this quick. I think we're running out of time. FaZe Empire, guys, high level thoughts. Obviously, Eric, you think FaZe win it?
Yeah, I think FaZe wins at 3-1. Dallas is a incredible team. I just have a feeling that FaZe is going to come out hot this event and steamroll a lot of teams.
I agree, and just to add another point, I think FaZe are going to come out like even better on their respawn. I think they let their respawn down a little bit in the previous home series. I don't think they'd do that again, and I think they shut it down in 4.
Yeah, I gotta agree. FaZe are like my Call of Duty blanket. I get all comfy when I see them play. I feel like I know that they got it. So yeah, I'm also going to be saying that FaZe take it.
I like that, Lottie. They're always there for you. Okay, well, I was going to say Dallas, but seeing as you've all gone FaZe, we have to come to consensus there. I think it's going to be a 3-1 then. Dallas might take the Dom, but FaZe are going to come out swinging, and it's going to be exciting to see them beat the same team twice in a tournament. Well, that is it. Our bracket builder is done. The Minnesota Home Series, God, if it goes this way, that's going to be an exciting event nonetheless. Thank you so much for joining us, Muddawg. I hope you enjoy the show, mate. Get your feet up, but don't slack too much because the boys got a lot of work to do still.
Yeah, we got a month to prepare for the next event, so they'll be grinding, but definitely be watching the tournament, listening to your beautiful voice and horrible ones. Very excited for
love
it.
That. Love that. And,
get a room, you two.
Get it right in there. And while we've still got you, mate, so you signing gunless? What's going on? We're going to now roll straight into Miles's mailbag. But seeing as it's Miles's mailbag, I thought I would just take over this one and ask the one question that I want to know, and I know a lot of other people want to know, and it's about you, Lottie.
Oh, me?
We want to know, mate, we want to know, how did you get into Call of Duty? I obviously know, Momo knows, but I think a lot of viewers, and I think a lot of Call of Duty fans, you seemingly came out of nowhere for quite a lot of them. So I thought, Lottie, how did you get into COD? And how did you get into the CDL?
So I used to be a professional Call of Duty player. I don't know how no one knows that. I'm just joking. I wasn't. No, I actually have done Call of Duty many, many years ago. I actually started with Momo doing Call of Duty Last Chance qualifiers in London. It was the first ever esport I ever did in terms of broadcasting. I think I was called like maybe 6 hours or 7 hours before the event by Martin from Gfinity, and he was like, hey, come on down, come and do this Call of Duty event. I heard you're into gaming, I heard you want to be a broadcaster, come and be the interviewer for our Call of Duty Last Chance qualifier. I was like, okay, let's do it. so I went there. I was interviewing like Muddawg, not Muddawg. Sorry, I was interviewing Mad Cat. I've got Muddawg on my mind now after doing this bracket. I was not interviewing Muddawg. I was interviewing Mad Cat. It was obviously a lot of European Call of Duty players. Bance was there. Jerd. I had Zero. I had Josh.
Marky B.
Everyone. Marky B. Yeah, there was everybody there. It was super cool. I met Momo there. I met his brother Rel. Rel also used to be a commentator too. Brycey.
Definitely the better
Brycey
brother.
was there too. I had Oxygen, which is known as Jonas Ferry nowadays.
I was going to say Essential.
It's now a Scuff. I know. I started doing that and I literally fell in love with it straight away. I'd always played games. I always played esports on my computer when I had the chance. It was really hard because I went to boarding school, so I couldn't play games as much as I would have liked to. It wasn't really till I was in university that I started playing a lot more. But yeah, that's kind of my roots. It like very short on how I started, and I started doing that with Ufinity. So a long time ago, first ever thing.
You started COD way before I did. Well done.
It was actually. Yeah, it was actually one of my first events as well.
Was it?
Yeah, it was kind of one of my first events, kind of being as like the talent or casting, analysing. I think I did a lot more analysing stuff there because I was like an ex-pro player. So it was more, that was kind of what I was comfortable in. I didn't do loads of casting. But obviously, for a lot of people don't know with Lottie is, obviously it was so long ago, but she went and did any other esports and then has kind of come full circle, which I think is kind of cool as well.
Yeah, so that's what I want to know. It's like how did you go? Because like you've done tons of other games. Like you've done. Like we don't have to go through all, but like you've been a part of
Street Fighter.
Oh, all right. I wasn't going to go into it, but Jesus, you've done loads of very big, successful games. But how did you go from? So there's a massive gap in time, obviously. Like how did it come to? Because you were at CWL London, you were part of the broadcast team there, which was wicked. How did it go from there to being like the host of the CDL?
So, I think just in terms of like right from the beginning for a start, it's very difficult. A lot of people ask me this question about, why do you jump from game to game? Sometimes you just got to make a name for yourself until you're able to produce something for people that want to watch you. You have to become a personality sometimes first. You can't just have the knowledge to just jump into a position that you really don't have the experience to be in. So when I actually did do CWL London, first of all, absolutely loved that event. It was so good to work with you guys again. It was awesome. And they called me up and they said, look, we have a position we think you would fit really nicely in. We wanted you to do CWL London so we could have a look at how you handle it. I was on the B stream. Hello everyone who tuned into the B stream. Nice to see you.
We had tons of fun on the B stream. It was wicked. We were in the corner on the floor, surrounded by fans, surrounded by players. It was amazing down there.
It was like COD After Dark on the B stream. You could go a bit wild on the B stream, couldn't you?
You could. We had a bit of fun, man. We had a bit of fun.
Although I did get texts from our bosses while we were on B stream having a good time.
You pushed the limits, Miles.
No. I pushed the limit. All right,
we were in the naughty corner, weren't we? A bit.
Miles is always in the naughty corner.
He is in the naughty. He's very cheeky, Miles. He's very, very cheeky.
One thing as well.
Look at that smile in his beard. His beard hides secrets.
Yeah, the one thing I think people don't know is obviously Lottie started like interviewing people, and when she said like make a name for herself, the cool thing is, which I've not done, I know Miles has done a little bit, but interview, then go to desk hosting, then go to stage hosting, then go like full circle round everything single one. And people always ask me like how you get into it, and I had the background of playing, as did Miles. But when you don't have that like name for yourself as a previous player, to kind of break into the scene and do what Lottie's done and many others, or a few others have done, is so hard, I think. But sometimes you just got to do every game possible, like Lottie said,
grind
make a
it
name
out.
for yourself.
Lots of people grind video games, if you want to be a pro. You see a lot of people chop and change video games a lot of times too, just to see if they can make it. It's the same kind of thing here in terms of broadcasting. It's just you've got to go around, make a name for yourself, get that personality going. But now I'm doing something that I absolutely love. I love FPS games. It's where I started. It's where I've always been. That is my roots. That's all I play pretty much. Apart from golf with friends, which is awesome. I love golf with friends.
That is a really fun game.
It's really good.
Really fun game.
But that's my roots, and it's what I love, and I'm passionate about it. So it's an amazing, amazing opportunity to be here right now.
So Lottie, now that you're in the CDL, talk to us a little bit about the first few weeks, the first few events, and how the community sort of embraced you, and how that's all changed. Like, what's that been like?
I mean, I'm sure you guys know because you were there for a lot of it for me. It was really hard. The first few weeks was really tough. I've got to a position in my life, in my career, where I am so proud of what I have achieved. Being here for the Call of Duty League, being the host, was truly a dream come true. And I did tweet that out because I mean it. It meant so much to me to be here, and it was really difficult to see a lot of backlash coming in on social media about my position and you know, whether or not I should actually be doing it, questioning my skills, questioning my knowledge, and not really even giving me a real chance at the beginning. So that was really tough, and I never kind of thought of myself as somebody who would let things like that on social media get into my head. And I've seen a lot of people talk about it before, but it really does actually make a huge difference about what you're reading about yourself. I tried to really block it out. I did. So I really turned that off. I zoned it out, turned off my notifications, stopped looking at stuff, and just kind of got on with it. It actually got a little bit worse before it got a bit better. So I no longer was seeing anything. I was then having things happen to me live event. That was really tough. I was having, it was my birthday. We're in London. I was having all sorts of signs behind myself while I was live being thrown up at me. Really, really tough. And it's really hard because I had a little bit of a breakdown actually mid-event. I was a bit upset, but I got over it because I was like, do you know what? I had to think about it for 1 second. I actually went underneath the desk and sat down and gave myself a pep talk. And I said, look, you are so lucky right now. Forget it. It doesn't matter. If you give it attention, it's exactly what they're asking for. Just get on with it and prove why you should be here and why you've been chosen. And that's exactly what I did. I got up, I was like, happy birthday, Lot, let's just do this. You're having the best present ever right now. You're getting to do what you love. So I got back up on the desk and I was like, yeah, I got this. And I had the best time for the rest of the day. Honestly, I really did. And honestly, since that moment, it really hasn't bothered me anymore. It was a bit weird. I think you have to kind of hit rock bottom in that one sense to really move on and be like, yeah, who cares anymore? Honestly, just do what you can do and you can prove to people eventually. And it's got better. It really has. I haven't turned my notification back on yet. I haven't done that yet because I just don't need to. But I'm getting so much more positive feedback from the community. I feel like they've embraced me so much more. I've been replying to a few people. Yeah, really, really nice things coming forward at the moment, and I couldn't appreciate it more from the community to actually take me in and kind of accept me for who I am now in this role that I have here, because I do truly love it. So yeah, so thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Mate, we didn't do anything, but well done. That's a lot of adversity to take. I know what it's like being the new guy in the squad, and it's not an easy thing to do. So congrats and well done. Really well done. It's a lot of shit to be thrown your way. You handled it well.
Yeah, I think as well, it's always a tough one to break when people are used to one thing and it's suddenly like flipped on its head. And I think probably we've all probably been through it. I mean, Miles, obviously, like you said, you were the new one before that. It's, we've all been in positions where it's kind of sucked. But I think, like Lottie said, there's a reason she got chosen for this, and the people who chose him weren't the people saying all these things. So I think it's a tough one, but it's certainly an important one, I think, to look at, whether mentally and stuff like that. It's tough, and I think me and Miles will be the first to say every single weekend we'll get, of course, nice comments about whether it be casting, but there'll be the odd few which just don't want to see us there, and you can't please everyone. You really can't, and
you can try.
Yeah, the only thing is you can try. Yeah.
I mean, I will never forget my first major COD event. It was around the same time that TP and Revan left the team. So it was like, we've lost TP and Revan, and who did we gain? Miles. Who is this bearded twat? And where is my TP? That's what I got. That's what I got for a long time. And it was tough. It was just bad timing. But I feel you. It's not been easy to do, but well done. And welcome to the team. Yeah. Truly welcome to the team.
Thank you, guys. Well, you two are very, very special and fantastic at what you do. So
I pulled with Lottie longer than I put it with Miles.
I think that
says quite a lot, actually. That says quite a lot.
And trust me, I'd rather keep Lottie around. Miles is annoying.
No, he's lovely.
Cut right there. Cut. This is my show. Cut. A massive thanks once again to Hank from Pardon My Take, and of course to Muddawg of Up to Gaming LA for coming on the show and having a big old chat with us. Thank you, Lottie, for being so candid. That was really great. That was really, really great. And Phil, yeah, nice one. Okay, so that's going to be it for the show. That's going to be everything. We had a great one. Minnesota Home Series is coming up this weekend. Be sure to turn on your notifications. Get down there in the chat below and let us know what you thought of the show, and let us know of any questions you want answered for the next time we're on. But until then, wash your hands, don't touch your bloody faces, and stay safe.